Hey everyone, welcome back to the 6th and most likely last episode of this build, as I've pretty much completed all the content. So if you're ever wondering, can this build do Ubers, then the answer is apparently it can. I will show you the latest improvements and the fights in great detail. Let's dive in. I'm starting with some map runners. These people have been running hard, with here a corpse walker. Also going hard is the tree crafting, which provides a foul-born witchbane, an explodey jewel, plus a Maloney, great for leveling 9 gems in the offhand. I use an omen of the jeweler and a jeweler's orb on a low-level bow. I color it, plus I color the Maloney's, and that's a nice offhand gem leveling setup. I slot in a bunch of gems and I'll return to these later. Also, you get an achievement, as it turns out. I slot in that foul-born witchbane to see if the extra explosions work. I find a perfect warlord. After a few hundred rituals, I drop a divine in Delve. I open a Kirek mission to refresh his inventory so I can buy chisels. Here's my new Atlas tree with full map modifier effect. Normally maybe not the best idea if you want to level, but I feel immortal in tier 16s with this build. I get rid of awakened melee splash and slot in multi-strike, as with 2 explodies in the build I don't need the clear. I create more grafts, but no updates to be found. A fortress drops the Gull, a Seer, a Sunblast, and I find and face tank the entire Black Knight fight, but the shield doesn't drop of course. I do get a Foulborn inspired learning, which works with 9 small nodes, plus a perfect Rumi's concoction. And then, after an 8-hour stream in which I only farmed juiced up tier 16 maps, I finally managed to hit level 100. At this point, I haven't died since level 97, and that's about to change. First, here's a skill point into a bit of a random node. Then I roll my first real tier 17, not an easy one either. I use the same atlas that you saw before with max map modifier effects, really testing out the build. Clear speed is totally fine, but the interesting part is the boss, I believe. It's been a while since I've done tier 17s, and after running and rolling one, I know why. I'm sure there is an order in which to kill these mini bosses, but I'm not aware of such an order. It's fine though, like this, and when it comes to the depraved trinity, I can simply face tank her. I'm rewarded with 3 fragments, but more importantly, I am rewarded with the knowledge my build can actually run tier 17s quite comfortably if you bother to roll them properly. This is a great achievement, I feel. The next day I wake up and decide to farm a bunch of fragments in tier 17 maps, suffering through those maps. I can have my map runners do this, but they would have a hard time 100% completing these, and even when they do, they only bring home 1 fragment usually. So I will do it myself. And these fights after a while go well enough, all in all. I have about 40 tier 17 maps that I'm running, with some bosses being a lot more annoying than others. Uber Katarina is one of the worst offenders, as I can't face tank much here, as it is all damage over time. Plus the fight has a bunch of phases. It's definitely my least favorite fight. Out of all my tier 17 maps though, I have the most cigarettes, unfortunately. I think I only failed a single tier 17 though, out of the 40. I was able to kill almost all the bosses. Sometimes I think I plastered on another like 4 boss shrines and then realized I wasn't in Jungle Valley, where I don't need to kill the map boss. But I switched that mindset relatively quickly. I do the occasional high fortress too, but I'm disappointed. The loot seems the same in tier 17 compared to tier 16. The easiest boss and instance by far, and the most fun I think, is the fortress. It's nice and quick, and not some sort of weird maze. Sanctuary is a lot tougher with Lycia. She must have a ton of cast speed here. These runes insta-give me, but okay. 6 portals is a defense layer as well, I guess. Abomination is not a horrible map either, but definitely the deadliest of the bunch, at least for me. If you do get lucky with the mods though, the bosses just roll over. I'm just not spending 40 chaos per tier 17 map to make them roll well. There's also not a lot of space to dodge anything in this arena. The last tier 17 with Uthred in it is a mess in terms of layout, but the boss is quite easy. I can face tank all of his abilities here, so I just stand in place waiting for my minions to do the work. It takes a bit of time to adjust to some of these fights. It's been over a year I think since I've done some of these. Usually I just don't bother running tier 17s, but also Lycia goes down in the end, and Uthra does as well. Here is a bit of tier 17 mapping action. I think that if you don't want to kill the bosses but just want to farm the maps for maps or scarabs, you can run a lot of modifiers actually. There's way less to be concerned about. If killing bosses is the objective, however, like it is in this case because I need the fragments, there are a bunch of mods that you simply can't run. I do a few more attempts at upgrading gems, I fail the haste, I hit the elemental damage with attacks, and I hit the minion damage too. That's 2% more damage, it may help. I also craft another Ghastly Eye jewel using the Fractured Base. This is quite a nice jewel. I replaced the Witchbane for this jewel. I don't feel it adds that much, especially on bosses. Katarina in the end drops my second Wraith Lord. I drop a Rain of Splinters, and it is finally time for most Uber Pinnacle bosses. And to manage expectations, I say most because I just didn't get all of the fragments and I didn't want to run more tier 17 maps. It's good to mention that I'm going into these fights pretty much blind. I almost never do tier 17s because I feel they're annoying, and I play SSF only, meaning I also barely do Uber Pinnacle content. I feel the Uber's Searing Exarch hits unrealistically hard with his regular attacks, and I'm not sure why I can't tank his damage, but fine, I will avoid the attack stance. This little error did cost me a few portals though. He summons a Minotaur to join the fight, who doesn't pose much of an issue it seems. It's mostly the stuff on the ground, the annihilation. There's just so much damage coming out of this guy compared to his normal version. I do plenty of damage myself, but I clearly lack a bit of experience to successfully kill the guy. But hey, it happens. On to the next boss, Maven. Should be easy, right? The last regular Maven I did with 0 deaths. I would say I know this fight pretty well. How hard can the Uber version be, I think? Well, she already tempers my expectations a bit by hitting me in the first phase with 2 fireballs in the face, which I managed to survive for some reason. The second time she does that, I'm not so lucky. She then summons all the balls in the room, but okay, first phase is done. During the brain phase, I struggled to see much of a difference with the regular fight. I think he just summons more bosses, and they keep coming too, but I simply direct my minions at the brain and his health goes down. I do notice another issue. The dots on the ground are not removed. My single target damage is plenty, but there are a lot of mechanics ongoing currently, already, and it's only phase 2. The brain phase is really quite easy, but I keep having to deal with dot balls, memory games, and on top of that, all her abilities seem to be supported by lesser multiple projectiles. The next brain phase is a lot more messy because of this. I'm not dealing well with all of these dots. I can already foresee some serious issues in the last phases. And that's exactly what happens. I mess up the memory game, which is pretty rare, but it's a bit of nerves as well, I think. I then shield charge through the beams trying to avoid a dot, and without regen I'm screwed, so I die again. And just like with the Searing Exarch fight, if I would have known some of her abilities up front, I think I can kill her actually, but now I just made too much of a mess of the arena and I wasted all portals. Okay, so far I failed 2 out of 2. We're off to a great start. Up next, Uber Elder. I think that's at least what this is. Also here, I detect lesser multiple projectile support on everything and a bunch of chaos explosions, but fortunately I can tank a few and triple expanding rings from the Elder, and of course a bunch of ground dots, because what's pinnacle content apparently without a bunch of ground dots? But to my own surprise, this is going quite well. They're both at 50% HP. I still have all of my portals. The arena doesn't look yet like a Dutch cheese with tons of holes in there. And while I don't always have a clue what's exactly going on, fortunately my homing missile minions seek out the correct targets usually. And the Elder is dead. Shortly after, I die to too many balls and dots and a beam, but it is the only death of the fight. The Uber Elder is down and I get this item. A minion item even. I regained a bit of confidence after that initial disaster. Time for the Eater of Worlds, and this fight seems very doable actually. He's not doing all that much more compared to the normal version I feel, and I can tank a lot of his attacks as well. He summons some tentacles during the ball phase, but apart from that he only gets one ball phase. And I get an Ashes of the Stars. That's a beautiful amulet really, it's been a while since I've had this. Next, Cortex. I like Cortex, the normal one. And this one, you could argue, is twice as hard, because he summons twice as many bosses. But that is not that much of an issue with the amount of single target damage I have. This is the easiest Uber fight so far. I may have gotten lucky with the mods, that is definitely an option. I didn't even check to be honest, but still. The intermittent phase seems the same, and after it's another 4 bosses that take home the prize. And the prize I do take home, in this case a nebulous, but I'm not sure it's all that good to be honest. Then the Incarnations. I have enough fragments for all 3. The neglect, I mean, the statues do walk around a bit more, that's true. And there are way more beams, that's also true, and they refract off of the statues, but I'm tanky enough so these don't kill me. They don't pose much of a threat. Well, most of the time they don't kill me. I'm not sure what happened there, but apart from that, he dies in less than 1.5 minutes. I'm happy with that, and I get a retaliation shield. Okay, fine, on to the next one. The Incarnation of Fear. He comes with a link between the balls and himself, so ideally I destroy the balls to break those links. I do get one shot by something while thinking I was standing behind him, but I guess I wasn't. And again, there is something lightningy just destroying me here. I still don't know what that was. And here it is one more time, but I'm not too concerned. I do a lot of damage and he also bites the dust. My reward, actually 2 rewards, a bound by destiny, which seems impossible to pull off, and a ring that wants you to play prismatic skills, as they always scorch. That's interesting. And then, most likely my favorite fight, the Incarnation of Dread Uber version. I start to see a bit of a theme, because also here the ground dots are not removed. What is kind of fun, he summons the other 2 incarnations, and only after you kill those they drop the rose, which you need to pick up and bring to the boss, like you have to do in the normal version. In that window you can do a ton of damage though. He fires 5 extra beams, I mean sure. I try to position all the dots on the left side of the screen, yet again kill the 2 mini bosses for the roses, and I have to do that just one more time. There is a lot of shit happening at the same time, including their abilities, but again I can tank most of those and regen back my life, so this fight is quite forgiving for me. And then he dies, he drops his helmet, and yet again it is a minion helmet. It basically gives Headhunter to a minion, it seems. That could be fun. I have enough fragments for another dread, by the way, and the second time I get his amulet, the Whispers of Infinity. In the meantime, map runners brought home a few more fragments, allowing me to retry the Maven. This time I'm prepared. I realized from last time that she's basically at full power in phase 1. I should dodge fireballs, or massive AoE pillar, and drop dot balls in the middle. Phase 1 is actually very smooth this time. The brain phase also. In the second phase I do miss one ball and I messed the dot up just a little bit, but these are no major issues yet. The second brain phase also no issues and still no deaths. This is going quite well. But in phase 3, the first death, because I'm getting hit by an ability that prevents my regen, which also causes the second death. During the fight, looking back at it, I didn't realize these stand still beams kill me basically as they remove my regeneration. I only realized that now when I'm rewatching the content. I do the memory game, I kill her once more, and then it is the brain phase, the last one. Normally, no issues, but in my infinite wisdom I decide to frostblink into the brain and I instantly die. Alright, I only have a few portals left now. Now the real Maven beams are here, although the arena isn't a huge mess in terms of dots. Somehow I do mess up the memory game once more and I die. I'm gonna have to be in for the long haul on this one, as my uptime on her, even with minions, just isn't as high as I would like. The next memory game is successful, and here is decent uptime after eating another beam. I skillfully dodged the Cascade of Pain on 10% life and have yet to complete another memory game. The tension is palpable. I casually run through another beam, wait as long as I can with completing the game so the debuff runs out. but after 8.5 minutes of adrenaline, she does go down, and she rewards me with her wand. Like I mentioned earlier, you will have noticed that I didn't do a few Uber bosses. That's simply because I don't have the fragments and I can't be bothered to run more tier 17 maps honestly. They're not fun, at least not for me, so I'm afraid you'll have to live with only these Uber bosses. I would say the build has proven itself in that regard though, right? It can definitely take on Uber content, especially considering that I went blind into all of these fights. I do have, however, one more encore, because I also ran a few simulacrums which you can do while watching YouTube, as until wave 12 or so the monsters don't hurt me at all. I will show you a wave 15 however, with mods, and you can tell that for the most part, even on wave 15, I can just stand there, summon minions. I don't have to worry about anything really. Once my energy shield gets a bit on the low side, I move out of the way. I'm probably standing on a dot or something at that point. And also when the bosses spawn, I have to move sometimes to hit them properly. But I think it is pretty clear, you can also run simulacrums with this build if you so please. I completed 3 of them, all wave 15. I even got a voices, but with 7 passives unfortunately. And with that, I think this is the end of the build. I'm not sure what else I have to show. I'm not 100% sure what's next in all honesty. I don't really feel like a fresh Zero the Hero just yet after a week and a half of grinding it out on this character, with I think a great result. By far my best result ever in SSF, or ever in the game really. For now I will enjoy the build a bit more, maybe I make a few guides about some game mechanics, farm a bit more content, as I'm thinking about making something with a random wheel that would include some of the more fun Foulborn uniques that I have in my possession, and maybe even some of the Uber uniques. I'll think about it, and feel free to post suggestions. Subscribe for whatever is next, like and share the video, that helps a lot for the algorithm. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all, see you soon, bye bye.
You shall serve me whether you like it or not. I'm not going anywhere.